Right, hello. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but we've got a few more things to talk about and go through on UK Geographical Issues Paper 2, and that is in particular your fieldwork questions. The fieldwork is basically section C. And as I've circled on here, that there are 4 questions in C, C1, C2, 8, 9, 10, 11. Obviously, you've got to be incredibly careful here. You are to complete question 9, which is about rivers fieldwork, and you are to complete question 10, which is about your urban fieldwork. 8 is coastal fieldwork, and 11 is rural fieldwork. Schools have a choice, okay? Do not make the mistake of doing the wrong one. Do not make the mistake of doing both of them, because that way you're just losing time and you're likely to do a bad job. You've especially got to be really careful, because as you can see on this example here from last year's exam paper, question 8 looks identical to question 9. I think it's lazy examining in that they've basically written the same question and then substituted coasts for rivers. Urban and rural, I also seem to remember, is very similar. They look identical, so just be very careful. You want 8 and 9. Now, both fieldwork questions are broken into 2 sections. They're both marked out of 18. And they break into either a set of questions about your field work or a set of questions about somebody else's field work. They will use a variety of resources, graphs, as you can see here, a results table, a photo, an OS map. You might be asked to draw a sketch map or a graph or annotate a diagram or possibly annotate a table full of results or analyse some data. There will be a variety of things that they ask you to do. There will certainly be an 8-mark question on both rivers and your urban fieldwork, and again it could be about your fieldwork, it could be about somebody else's fieldwork. But just remember, there are 6 stages to an inquiry. In terms of geographical fieldwork, there's an overall inquiry question, title, background, hypotheses. There's method, as in methodology, how did you collect the data, presentation of results, presentational sources, we've come across that before, how did you present your data, what type of graph did you use and why, was it effective, analysis, conclusion and evaluation. Other things to be aware of in terms of basic terminology, the difference between primary and secondary data, quantitative, qualitative. Representation of data technique is just another fancy way of saying what type of graph did you draw, what type of table did you draw. A statistical technique, I've seen that one once or twice on an exam paper, really is implying about did you do any maths, did you do any numeracy. And amazingly enough, this could be something simple like adding up and getting a total. That is a statistical technique. Completing an average or looking at a modal result, the most popular result. These are all statistical techniques. Okay. There are 2 compulsory bits of secondary data that they could directly ask you about. For rivers, it's your flood risk map. We gave you an Environment Agency flood risk map for Carding Mill Valley, and for your urban fieldwork, it is your census data. We gave you a table of census data for the places that we actually visited. Other things I think really important to remember is that whatever fieldwork you're writing about, everything is linked together. Method, how you collected your data leads to results. Your presentation of your results and your analysis of results then go into your conclusion. Okay, so if your method isn't very good, your results aren't going to be very accurate and your conclusion will be invalid. Counter to that, if your results are very accurate and appropriate, you've got enough data, you've presented it well, you've analysed it well, it's going to lead to a sound conclusion. The evaluation kind of links all of this process together, and evaluation in the fieldwork context means to go back, to look at it again, to think about how you've improved something. So if I had a very bad or poor method of data collection for measuring the width of a stream, if I then improved it in my evaluation, my results would be better, my conclusion would be more sound and valid. 2 last things. when you're answering questions about somebody else's field work, whether it's somebody else's rivers or somebody else's urban field work, remember the overall title is exactly the same. So our urban title was investigating how and why quality of life in urban areas varies. That's what somebody else will be writing about. Our river was about how changes in the river and the landscape around it affect property and flood risk. That's exactly what somebody else has written their field work with a view to answering. Remember, you've got advantages here. The examiner has no idea what results you found or what data you collected or whether it worked or not. They haven't asked for the results. All they know is you went to Birmingham. All they know is you went to Carding Mill Valley. We don't have to give them the results, we don't have to say whether it worked or not, but as long as what you're writing makes geographical sense, I'm not saying make it up, but I'm saying you've got a bit more scope to be flexible with your answers here. The river, as long as you're keeping it sensible. If you're trying to tell me that the river was 25 metres wide, then clearly you're talking rubbish. If you tell me that the river was 1.5 metres wide, that sounds realistic. So as long as what you're writing sounds plausible, makes geographical sense, and it's in the right order, then you should be able to be a bit more flexible with what you're actually writing. Anyway, in clip 5 we'll have a look at somebody else's field work, and then in clip 6 we'll have a look at our own field work. Okay.